Incoming mail.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Abi, and I'll be taking the first part of today's analysis, which will be covering an overview of commodity currencies. By that, I mean AUD/USD, NZD/USD, and USD CAD. Shortly after which, my colleague is going to come do his own analysis on indices. I believe we're all together and can hear me clearly. Okay, so I'm going to start off from AUD/USD. From our last analysis on AU, remember we stated we were selling this asset class and wanted to see price, what it would do at a particular level, which was going to break below and keep selling so that we'll keep going with that move, or if it was going to find support. Price broke below that level and kept trading lower, right? So AUD/USD gave us what we wanted it to give. That was on Thursday. So looking at this now, I'm quickly going to go ahead and delete all of these horizontal lines from our last analysis. You'll see that price has traded into what could have served as a support, but let's delete that and start over for the sake of those of us who were not here last week. If you happen to have any questions, please do well to just type it in the chat box as I go, and done, I will simply just answer all of those questions. For those of us who are wondering what the lines on the chart are, this is an indicator-based strategy that we use here at the floor, and that's what I'm using for this analysis. So if you do not have the indicators, that's fine. Please don't let it confuse you. What you want to do is to make sure that you take note of price, where price is traded into. All right, just give me a second. All right, we're back. So let us now look for what the market has to give today. We're looking at price from the overall view, starting from as far back as the 8th of April, AU has been buying. And then for here, you see that price came and changed character. You see the line still there and giving us lower highs and lower lows. This was supposed to take this out. Instead, we had the lower high around this particular level. So what do we now think price might do? Looking at where the indicator is, it is possible to see more downward movement on this particular asset class. But let's trade or go even into lower time frames and see if we're going to have even more data on what we expect price to do. Now, on the H1 time frame, you see that the indicators and price movement are all jam-packed together, giving some sort of a range-ish movement, right? But range to where? It's a range to the downside kind of vibe, because price has now broken through our Dow-Jones indicator to the downside. So let's go back to H4 and see if we had a sunshine printed. Surely we did. What does this particular indicator mean? It's simple. Whenever we see this indicator printed on the charts, it means that people who were riding a particular move are gradually taking profits. So if you're still in that bias, then you should be getting ready to trade with lower risks and not expecting too much. Does that mean that price will not trade lower? It is very possible to keep digging deeper. But this is taking, we might see a retracement before the overall move continues. So since I've seen sunshine printed and H1 is showing me this, is it possible to see more of AU temporarily into somewhere around the zone before we see that final lap that pushes AU downward? It is likely, right? It is likely. So now that we've seen this and we have this foresight, let's go to M5 and mark out our most immediate POIs to see what price does. So what am I going to be marking out? Those of us that have joined us a couple of times know what we are looking for. We want to draw out yesterday's low, yesterday's high, yesterday's low and high, and then day before yesterday's low and high as well. So draw that into today's price movement. So these zones that I'm marking out will either serve as resistance support or previous resistance stone support and vice versa. So I've now drawn out these levels into today's price movement. What am I saying? This is where price is. So this could either serve as a previous support that could become current resistance to keep price pushing downward. And if price happens to buy above here and breaks the zone, it's going to be coming for the trend. If price breaks above, the same thing gradually, step by step. If this does not hold, this should hold. If this indicator doesn't hold, this and this should hold. And what happens if they all get violated to the upside? It gives us insights that we're going to see more push to the upside before the overall move is continued. If this is clear, again, you do not have the indicators. I totally understand that. Please take note of the price point, the levels where we drew this POI, and then do the same thing on your charts, get confirmation, and let's take these trades. Has this been helpful? Is this clear? Please let me know in the chat box while I proceed into NZUSD as you type. Now for NZUSD, I'm going to do the same thing I did, delete all selected, all the horizontal lines, and go to the H4 time frame. Now, same thing since the 8th of April, predominant structure, major structure has been to the upside, but then since somewhere around June to July, we've been seeing these consecutive lower lows and lower highs being printed. I'm using these terms because I also know that these are terms that most of us are more familiar with. So zooming in, you'd see that price has been giving us lower lows and lower highs. Okay, do we have a new sunshine printed for the indicator now? Yes, we do. What does that mean? We're expecting a retracement, a reversal. So let's go to H1. On the H1 time frame, I just need to draw out levels that I think price could buy back into temporarily before we see if the overall move is going to be continued. Right. So POI 1 price tapped into it. POI 2 is somewhere around here. Are you going to buy in here and then hit this resistance, keep trading lower or all the way up at 0.59789, right? So let us see. Let's go to M5. This is what we call multiple time frame analysis. Gives you different pictures of what price is doing from the high to the low. So yesterday's high, similar to what I did on ADUSD, and yesterday's low is going to be mapped out somewhere here. And then day before yesterday's high and low, day before yesterday's high and low. So mark out our low of day before yesterday, go ahead and mark out the high. Okay. Now price almost tapped into the high, but it didn't fully tap in. Instead, it stopped at our red indicator, which serves as our trend, the red Keltner channel. So price has now tapped in, hence why you see this move downward. But price is approaching the support. Where is our support level at? Somewhere around, it's a zone, not exactly a price point. So somewhere between 0.59175 to 0.59153 is going to be a support level we're watching out for to see price does. Is it going to come in here and give us a confirmation? You know, there are always confirmation patterns around this point of interest. We don't go around setting pending orders on these different POIs that we draw. Is it that we can't? We can, but it's always better when you have more confirmation so you don't take unnecessary trades. So when price gets into this zone and gives me a confirmation, then I could take a quick scalp from here to here. But if no confirmation is given, then it's possible we're going to see even more breaks lower on NZUSD. Please, is this clear? Do we understand? For USD card, which is the third asset class I'll be looking at before we move into indices. Third asset class, go ahead, delete this. So what is this showing us? predominantly down, minor structures currently being formed to the upside. A sunshine has been printed, so we're expecting a retracement into what level? POI1, where price could retrace into is 1.37097, and POI2, where price could retrace into is 1.37831. So if price comes in here, although look at this, it looks as though price already tapped into this zone, hence why we saw this buy, but it's still going to be left there. We want to see if you're going to come in here, give us the support provided it holds, and then go upward or trade all the way down here. So M5 again, yesterday's high and lows, wait for price to trade into those zones, give me confirmation, and I'll act accordingly. Now for this POI, this was an horizontal line we drew from H1. You see that it has two confirmations now, double confluence around 1.3783. It also happens to be yesterday's low. Then go ahead and draw out yesterday's high, day before yesterday's low, and day before yesterday's high as well. Okay, so these are the levels I have now marked out for. We want to see price. Price has now traded into the trend and also the low of the before yesterday. Is this going to hold to keep trading above? We are going to see. So someone asked, what are the news releases supporting this? So we'll go on Forex Factory to see. I believe today the only news release we have coming out is on the Canadian dollar. Let us see. Last week, we had a couple of high impact news releases that came out. So today, the only one, let's check to be sure. But I believe today being the 19th is CPI, which basically measures inflation. So I think, okay, user, it's user. So I'm going to just quickly explain how to use Forex Factory. Simply come here, check for the date you're looking for, and then the asset class, or asset classes or currencies that are in sync with the asset class you're analyzing for that day. In this case, the only one we have for today is CAD, because we're trading USD CAD, right? So simply click on this and you see why it is important to traders. So why is the CAD CPI important to traders? One, consumer prices account for a majority of overall inflation, and inflation is important to currency valuation because rising prices lead the central bank to raise interest rates. And what happens when we have increased interest rates? It attracts more investors, right? So if more investors are coming into an economy, then you should see more growth. And that is why the usual effect is the actual greater than forecast is good for currency. What does that mean? If you look at this side of the chart, you'd see that we have forecast and we have actual. This is what the forecasted percentage is, 0.3%. If this comes out greater than what's forecasted, then we should see more strength going to the CAD. If strength goes into the CAD, we may see USD CAD trade lower because then you'll be selling the USD to buy the CAD, except a news release on the dollar comes out that now pushes the dollar, making it stronger than CAD. So you're going to be watching out for this. Comes than expected, it's going to have an impact on CAD. If it comes out lower than expected, it is going to do the reverse of what we just discussed. All right, so that's pretty much it for today's analysis. I also non-data news to read too. What are non-data news releases, sir? What are non-data news releases? Do you mean random tweets from, the President Trump? Because they also play a role. Okay, to not take too much more time, we're going to go into the next half, but there are a lot of things that affect the charts. It's not the technicals alone that move the charts. There are news. President Trump could just say something and you just see that all your other blocks and your indicators and your technical analysis are being violated. So yes, so we have the news releases you can check on Forex Factory. You can also check on Twitter. Follow some analysts and see their foresights. Keep an eye on what they say because it also plays an eye on this. Then there are other platforms you can check as well, Market Milk for Forex performance or Finviz, just to see the leading per time. All right, thank you so much for joining. I believe this was helpful. We're going to go into the next half covering indices. Please do not go anywhere. We will be back very, very shortly. Cheers and God bless.
Good morning to you all. How are you doing today? Hope we're good, hope we're fine. Hope our trading week is going really well. Yep. Please give me a sec. Yeah, we're good. Hope our trading week is going well. Has that been? Sorry, we have not met since last week for those that are into commodity trading. It's been an interesting time to say the least. August has been a very ranging month. So far, so good. We've seen the market taking no shape or no bearing at all. And it's quite expected, right? From seasonality to, we can already map out how August, September, and most likely October is going to be, because those seasons are where the markets range, right? You see it's no clear direction. And then even with the fundamental, now fundamental is really neutral, right? Unlike before, that is very clearly bullish. But now it's a bit neutral, being that nothing is happening significant. In fact, they are trying to resolve pending issues, Ukraine, Russia, and the rest. Meeting has been going on, and then there are lights. There seems to be light at the end of this tunnel. I hope there actually is, right? Because if that does not work, then it's be another round of chaos again in the market. But nonetheless, we look at what the market is doing this morning, and then take positions in those markets. All right, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen already. Okay. US 30. All right, on US 30, like we mentioned, the market has been very, very funny, very dicey. Price action has been really interesting. Look at what we have seen on today's Sunday, from this start of the week, Sunday to Monday. Look at the price action we have, right? It's really, really not clear. There's absolutely nothing to be excited about in this market, right? However, I'm looking at something really interesting here, which is this other block that might send price to the upside. This, right? And all of this will serve as what? Liquidity to send price to the upside, right? Meaning we'll see something like this. Where is it? Yep. Boom. And then probably into this other block. So that's a possibility in this market this morning. But long term, this market, I expect August to be a ranging month, right? I've anticipated that like that since like 1 week ago, that August would be a kind of ranging month, and all of that is actually happening now, and it's not new. However, for intraday kind of play, you might not necessarily see a setup. And if you don't see a setup, honestly, there's no point forcing it, right? There's no point forcing it. But for today, let's keep an eye on this, because on a daily time frame, we are bullish. From technical perspective, we are extremely bullish to the upside, right? Even on the 4-hour time frame, we are still bullish. Look at it. Every structure has changed, like literally, right? Structure has changed, right? However, if we use your FIB to measure, you will see that even from the last swing high to swing low, let me use the recent swing high to swing low, swing low to swing high, sorry. You see that we are in a very significant level, right? We are in a very significant level here, which could send price to the upside significantly. And so I'll be looking at this level. And of course, there's a lot of liquidity sweep or liquidity grab around this zone. So it still makes sense for us to see price fly from this to the upside. I'll be keeping my eyes on this chart, and then seeing what will happen into it, either from this London session into New York self particularly, because New York session is when US 30 and the rest tend to move and have that strong momentum we're looking for, right? So let's look at US 100, and also it has been ranging, although this one has been ranging to the downside, which is quite interesting, right? But even on 4-hour time frame, it is still what? It's still clearly what? Bullish. By the time we draw our fib, should be around 61.8 fib level, right? Yeah, 61.8 fib level ranging from this zone. But we have some interesting areas down there. Down there, we have some interesting area. You could see price jump up from this zone. Let me look at the 1-hour time frame. Okay. This is quite interesting. This entire zone is unique. So one thing with this is that we might see price react from 50% of this other block and then to the upside. Let me delete this now. 50% of this other block to the upside, right? Price tapping into this and then sending it to the upside, because everything, we have build up of liquidity around this. You have liquidity that has been built, like diagonal liquidity that has been built around this. And then when we just see a tap and then price, moving up again, because the market is clearly bullish from a technical perspective. It is really, really bullish. And on the structure change significantly, there's no point taking a sell or looking for a sell, except if you want to scalp 1 minute and 3 minutes kind of stuff, which is, I mean, if that's a strategy, that's fine, right? So to the last one for today, which is S&P 500. S&P 500 is also on the daily time frame, very, very much bullish. However, we've not had that much retracement, unlike US 30 and also NAS 100, right? Even on the 4-hour time frame, look at what we have. It's still not, let me use my fib. It's really not still significant. It's not in a premium level for us to, or discount level for us to buy from, right? It's still above 50%. So unlike US 100 and US 30 that are below, down the discount level, 78.6, 61.8 that we can buy from and be confident to hold long term. This guy is still very much pretty at a premium level, and it's not advisable to buy from that, right? So for this morning, what will I be looking at on US 30, on US S&P 500, sorry. For S&P 500, the market is really not ripe for a buy. But this is the thing. Usually when US 30 and US 100 starts to buy, it will follow, right? It will follow because correlation, they are all correlated. It will also rally. It tends to rally, right? But then actively looking for where to buy on S&P 500, we don't have a position yet, right? We don't have a position yet for that. But then I believe the rally on US 100 and US 30 will eventually make S&P 500 to rally, right? But then the exact position, because everything here is still not ready, except if we see a week on this zone, right? If we see like a week on this zone and then continues to the upside, then we can be sure of the buy, or we can buy from US 30, from S&P 500. If it eventually wicks down here and then tap into this other block for it to continue to the upside, fine and good. But except for that, there's actually no spot for us to buy on, right, on S&P 500 actively now. What we might most likely do is take trades on US 100 and US 30 while we just allow S&P 500 to rest, right? So the thing is this, you can just do your chart side by side, US 30, US 100, S&P 500, because even as we are looking at those two other pair, I mean Nasdaq and Dow Jones, right? It can be that S&P 500 will actually come down weak into this other block and then continues, while US 30 and NAS is still struggling, right? So there's no one way around this market. It's just that from what we are seeing now, right, from what we can observe, technically, the best still trade this morning will be S&P, will be US 100 and what's it called, US 30, right? I hope you're not confused, right? Because we have this already in this area that's looking good. US 30 also, we have this already here that's looking pretty well that we can send to the upside. All right, that being said, that will be pretty much it for this morning. That will be looking at somebody is saying, please touch gold. Please look at yesterday analysis on gold. The New York session, that's the one that happened at 2 p.m. right? And then I believe it's still pretty much solid. Nothing, we've not had serious volume in the market, right? That has been ranging since Monday because there was no news. So you can watch out that video, the recap of markets call New York session yesterday, and you will get the exact, bias on gold. Thank you so much this morning for joining. Also be reminded our ATM cash flow course is coming up. Training is coming up. I think that'll be next week, right? And the ATM cash flow is built for synthetic markets, VIX 75, and all of those ones that is not affected by news whatsoever, right? So if you're interested in that market, do well to send us a DM on our WhatsApp line 081 60 99 50 30, right? And somebody from the customer support is going to respond to you and sign you up, right? So if you are new into trading or you want something that is not affected by news, like a soft landing, then VIX is for you, right? But then if you are an OG, then you know what to do already. Just take the FX Bootcamp course. FX Bootcamp also will be coming up towards the end of the month, right? The exact date will be completed, right? So for anybody or somebody that wants to take the course, just get them informed already. They should prepare themselves towards the end of the month. All right, we'll meet again by 2 p.m. We'll just look at what the market is doing. If anything has changed significantly, we would adjust our bias. And if nothing has changed, we'll just enter the market. For me this morning, I'm really excited. I'm just going to, once I'm done with this session, I'm going on my DEX to set my position and then set alerts. Wait, once I see it, I'm in, and then hopefully we see what we can make this week, right? The week already started. All right, thank you so much for joining. I wish you all a profitable trading. Until next time. Cheers and God bless. Please, I'll be interested. User said I'll be interested. All right, just send a message to, let me respond to user and a DM to 081 6099 50 30. 6099 50 30. All right. Please confirm if we can enter GJ. Okay, I really don't know. I wasn't here for GJ analysis yesterday. Don't even know what you're buying or what you're selling. That's the truth. Okay. This one thing you should do, right? Because we have different people trading different assets. I have not even looked at GJ today. This is what you do. Just send a message on Market Color Group, right? Tagging the person that did the analysis. We are all on Market Color Group. Let me see the person that asked that question. Uluwafemi or Oyewumi. Just text the person that is on Market Color. Yeah, tag the person, right? Either CJ or Lekon. I believe one of those will have done the analysis on GJ. You see CJ just at VFT CJ or at Value Flow. Tag us on the Market Color Group and then ask that question. The person is going to respond, right? I mean the tutor that did the analysis. All right, thank you so much for joining this morning. Galaxy, Mangot. Wow, Mr. Mangot, it's been a while. Numa, Luafemi, Simeon, Tokwe, user, thank you. We meet again by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. All right, until next time, I wish you profitable trading. Cheers and God bless, guys.